Archibald Thompson Hall was born in Glasgow in 1924. From an early age, he established himself as a thief and a burglar, serving several prison sentences. A clever man who was sometimes capable of hatching original plans to get rich, he got the idea of posing as a butler to infiltrate the households of wealthy people, win their confidence and then steal their valuables. A plausible rogue, he looked the perfect gentleman's gentleman. In prison he studied genealogy and etiquette and tried his best to lose his Scottish accent. He was also a keen student of antiques, so he would know what to steal once he got employment at some stately home. Although Archibald Hall was more than once caught pilfering and sent back to prison, he was always able to get another job as a butler. In 1975, he was butler to Lady Hudson. Since he liked both his job and his employer, he decided to go straight for a change and not steal anything. However, there were complications. Now that Hall was bisexual, that he made sure that his ex-boyfriend David Wright got a job as Lady Hudson's gardener in 1977. Wright wanted to burgle the house and steal Lady Hudson's jewellery, and when Hall objected, Wright threatened to expose him as a crook. Hall was not having any of that, and when they were out hunting, he shot Wright dead and buried him in the grounds of Lady Hudson's estate. Having disposed of his friend, Archibald Hall went back to his old haunts in London, again securing employment as a butler with the greatest of ease. His new employers were the 82-year-old former Labour MP, Walter Scott Elliott, and his wife Dorothy, living in flat 22 at Richmond Court. A prestigious apartment block situated at number 200 Sloane Street. Scott Elliott was a very wealthy man, and the flat full of valuable antiques. Planning to enter the flat in a simulated burglary, the Monster Butler recruited 2 accomplices, the thief Michael Keto and Mary Coggle. However, their plan went badly wrong when Mrs. Scott Elliott, who Hall thought was in a nursing home, unexpectedly returned and confronted Hall and Keto at flat 22. Hall and Keto attacked and murdered her without any further ado. For it possible for the gang to continue stealing money and antiques, Mr. Scott Elliott also had to disappear. Hall thought up another cunning plan, with himself and Keto acting as parts of the butler and chauffeur. Mary Coggle dressed up as Mrs. Scott Elliott, wearing a fur coat and large wig. Walter Scott Elliott, who the villains had dosed with sedatives, did not notice the difference, although he must have found his wife's accent very odd indeed. They all went for a drive to Scotland in a hired Ford Granada, with the corpse of Mrs. Scott Elliott travelling in the boot of the car. Here Hall and Keto murdered Walter Scott Elliott and buried him and his wife in the countryside. Next to go was the foolish and volatile Mary Coggle, who had taken too much of a liking to Mrs. Scott Elliott's expensive clothes and was becoming a liability. Hall and Keto murdered her and put her body in a barn. Hall then murdered his half-brother Donald. He had always detested him, but when the car was searched by the police at a hotel, Donald's body was found in the boot. The Monster Butler escaped through a lavatory window, but he was later captured at a police roadblock. The police traced the car to the Scott Elliott's in London, and flat 22 was found to be robbed of many of its antiques and spattered with blood. All the bodies were recovered, and Hall and Keto were charged with 5 counts of murder. In the courts in London and Edinburgh, they were both sentenced to life imprisonment, Hall with a recommendation he should never be released. The Monster Butler had to serve a full 25 years in prison. When he died of a stroke in Kingston Prison, Portsmouth in 2002, at the age of 78, he was one of the oldest prisoners in Britain and the oldest serving a whole life tariff. Richmond Court still stands, and there is still a flat 22. A 2-bedroom flat in this prestigious block costs a cool £8,000 a month to rent. Whether the resident ghost of the murdered former occupant is included in this price is not stated in the advertisement.